You do not need permission. Recently, I was doing something very, normal. I was sitting on my couch watching TV and I went to plug my phone in for it to charge. And when it started to charge, I noticed little circles going over some of the apps like they were updating. And now this has happened before, but this is the first time it really caught my attention. And I thought that was odd because normally your phone prompts you and says like, hey, there's a new update. Do you want to do it? If so, do you want to do it now or do you want to do it later? And you have to select all these things. But this time it was just going. So I wondered, well, what's different? And then I realized when it prompts you and asks you if you want to update, that's normally when it's not plugged in. This time it was. So it was almost if the phone was saying like, look, I'm connected to enough power that I don't need your permission. I can just update. I can just do what I need to do. And that made me think of us and how oftentimes we'll get an idea from God or we'll get an instruction from God. And instead of just moving forward in it, we'll seek out permission from other people before we do anything. And, sometimes it's directly like asking people, hey, what do you think about this? I'm thinking about starting a business. How do you feel about that? I'm thinking about going back to school. Do you have any advice for me? Or do you think I should do that or not? And then sometimes it's indirectly. It's just waiting around to see if we'll get extra signs, or waiting around to see if I like kind of hint at it, will I get a good response? But God is saying, no, you're connected to me. I'm your source. So you have enough power. Just go forward in what it is that I told you to do. And I know we like to think that, oh, what's for me is for me, and that there's no expiration date on anything that God wants to give you. It's comforting to think that, but I don't believe that is true. I know for a fact I can look back on my own life and see certain opportunities that I missed because there is a window for some things. Now, there are some promises that God gives you that, yes, God is going to fulfill that promise. But there are certain opportunities that do have a window. And if you are waiting for everybody to rubber stamp you before you move forward, you could miss it. And that should be a more terrifying thought than just going for it and trusting that the God who saw you through yesterday is the same God who's going to see you through today. The God who saw you through your last big move of faith is the same God who's going to see you through this big move of faith. You're connected to enough power. Psalm 67:7 says, God is the source of our blessings. We have to remember that though. God is the source. But if you're going elsewhere, you're making other things your source. You're making approval your source. You're making acceptance your source. No, God is your source. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 says, for God has not given you the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. These are what God has called us to be, not fearful, not timid, not seeking. And we don't want to, always admit it. But when you are seeking permission from other people, that's coming from a spirit of fear. That's coming from the thought of, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if this is going to work. So let me get someone else's approval first. Because if this person says yes, then it might work out. It might be good. No, God didn't give you that. He gave you power. He gave you love. He gave you a sound mind. So you have everything you need. You have enough power. Move forward in that. Trust God and know that, hey, if God is giving me this idea, He's going to help me see it through. If God has given me this instruction, I don't need to worry about how other people feel about it. I don't need their permission. I have God's permission. I have God's stamp of approval. I'm just going to move in it. That was a word for me that I definitely needed in that moment, because I have had one too many times of trying to see like how other people felt about things before doing it. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. God has given me enough power. He is my source. This was a word for me. I hope it's a word for you. This wasn't even the message that I planned on starting my channel with, but this is what God gave me. So here we are. I pray that you gained something from it. If you connected with this message and if you stuck through to the end, thank you. Please consider liking and commenting and subscribing. There will be more to come. My name is Sparkle and this channel is The Prodigal. So welcome to The Prodigal.